Ever wondered why Europeans love their espresso so tiny? Maybe because they're trying to save room for all those croissants and bratwursts. Welcome to the land of cuckoo clocks, fine chocolates, and where everyone seems to have an opinion on how to make the perfect pasta. Yes, we're talking about Europe, a place where you can find a castle on almost every hill, and where the beer often comes in steins larger than your head. But be warned, Europe isn't just about the food, the drink, or the fairy tale landscapes. It's also a place where you'll find yourself lost in translation, even when you're using a translation app. A place where you will be perpetually confused about whether to kiss once, twice, or thrice on the cheek for a greeting. And let's not even get started on the myriad of roundabouts and why they're so obsessed with them. And yet, despite its quirks, or perhaps because of them, Europe is a gem that is worth exploring. From its rich history and diverse cultures, to its stunning landscapes and vibrant festivals, Europe has much to offer. Now, you might be wondering who we are to tell you all this. Well, this is the first video on the Hidden Europe channel, where we'll be sharing our love for this quirky continent. We're always on the hunt for the best travel tips and hidden gems, and we can't wait to share them with you. Every week, we'll dive into a different aspect of Europe, from its mouth-watering cuisine to its fascinating history and everything in between. We'll even share some of the best travel discounts we can find, so you can explore Europe without breaking the bank. So, if you're not convinced yet, we've got 7 reasons that might make you change your mind. But remember, we warned you. First off, we've got the food. Imagine gaining 5 pounds in a week. Now that's a vacation. Europe is a culinary wonderland. You know the saying, too much of a good thing? Well, that's Europe's food scene in a nutshell. From the sun-drenched vineyards of Italy that produce the finest pasta you've ever tasted, to the quaint French countryside where cheese is practically a religion. And let's not even get started on Belgium's waffles or Spain's tapas. In Italy, they say, mangia, mangia, which means eat, eat. And trust me, you'll be doing a lot of that. The pasta is made fresh, the tomatoes are sun-ripened, and the olive oil is golden and fragrant. It's a flavor explosion in every bite. Then, you hop over to France, where you'll find an entirely different gastronomic adventure. From delicate pastries to robust cheeses, the French know how to tantalize your taste buds. And don't forget about the wine. The vineyards here are legendary and produce some of the best wines in the world. But it doesn't stop there. Europe is a smorgasbord of flavors, with each country offering its unique take on food and drink. It's a food lover's paradise, but be warned, your waistline might not thank you. And if you're not a foodie, don't worry, there's plenty more to turn you off Europe. If you're allergic to old things, then Europe is definitely not for you. Yes, you heard it right. Europe is practically overflowing with history. It's almost as if every cobblestone, every brick, and every piece of aged wood has a tale to tell. Imagine walking through the streets of Rome, where every step you take is on centuries-old ground, where emperors once trod. Or picture yourself in Athens, where philosophers like Socrates and Plato honed their wisdom. It's like being in a living, breathing history book. And then there's the architecture. From the grandeur of the Colosseum, to the intricate beauty of the Notre Dame, to the awe-inspiring majesty of the Parthenon, Europe is a treasure trove of ancient architectural wonders. It's a place where Gothic cathedrals rub shoulders with Roman amphitheaters and medieval castles. But it's not just about buildings and artifacts. Europe's history is etched into its people and their traditions. It's in the folk dances of Spain, the bagpipe tunes of Scotland, and the hearty beer festivals of Germany. So, if history makes you yawn, then Europe might just be too much. It's like being in a never-ending history class, except your teacher is a timeless continent filled with fascinating stories waiting to be discovered. But hey, if old things aren't your cup of tea, there's more to come. Do you find it annoying to learn new languages? Then Europe will drive you crazy. Now, let's imagine you're on a road trip across Europe. You start your morning in France, sipping a café au lait and saying bonjour to locals. By lunchtime, you're in Belgium, where you're ordering moule frite in Dutch. And by dinner, you've reached Germany, where you're asking for bratwurst und Bier in, you guessed it, German. But that's not all. You might end your night in Italy, learning how to say buonanotte, or wake up the next morning in Spain, trying to remember how to say buenos dias. And just when you think you've got a grip on it, you cross into Portugal, where good morning becomes bom dia. It's a whirlwind of words, a cascade of consonants, a deluge of dialects. And we haven't even mentioned the languages of Eastern Europe: Polish, Czech, Hungarian, Romanian, and so many more. Each country, each region, each city has its own unique language or dialect, making Europe a linguist's dream but potentially a traveler's nightmare. But don't let that scare you. Most Europeans are multilingual, and English is widely spoken. So even if you're linguistically challenged, you'll still be able to get by. But if the thought of all those languages gives you a headache, maybe Europe isn't for you. So if you're not a linguist, you might want to steer clear of Europe. But wait, there's more. Are you tired of breathtaking views and picturesque landscapes? Europe will definitely bore you to death. Picture this. You're trekking through Thomstadter, cricketing through the snow-capped peaks of the Swiss Alps, gasping for breath, not because of the altitude, but because of the sheer beauty that surrounds you. Or perhaps you're sipping on a glass of rich, full-bodied wine amidst the rolling vineyards of Tuscany, or a little too rustic for you. Then how about a leisurely boat ride through the tranquil canals of Amsterdam, lined with charming 17th century houses that seem to lean towards each other as if sharing secrets from the past. Or maybe a sunset stroll along the rugged cliffs of the Irish coast, where the only sound you'll hear is the whisper of the wind and the rhythmic crashing of the waves against the shore. If you're someone who craves the concrete jungle, the unending monotony of skyscrapers, then the emerald green landscapes of the Scottish Highlands might just be a little too overwhelming for you. And let's not even get started on the serene beauty of the Greek islands, where the azure waters of the Mediterranean meet the pristine white houses of Santorini. It's all a bit too much, isn't it? So, if you're more of a city person, then you might want to avoid Europe. But let's keep going. Hate having fun? Then European festivals will absolutely ruin your day. You see, Europe has this uncanny knack of turning any ordinary day into a riotous celebration of life. From the flamboyant carnivals of Venice to the explosive fireworks of Spain's Las Fallas, Europe's festival scene is an absolute nightmare for the fun-averse. Or take Oktoberfest, for instance, a quiet 2-week-long celebration in Munich where people from all over the globe gather to enjoy beer. Oh yes, beer. Just imagine having to endure the hardship of tasting some of the world's finest brews amidst a sea of lederhosen-clad revelers. The horror. And then there's La Tomatina. This messy affair in Buñol, Spain, involves an entire town engaging in a massive tomato fight. Imagine being caught in the crossfire of flying tomatoes. It's enough to make any fun hater shudder, not to mention the midsummer festivals in Scandinavia, where night turns into day and the bonfires light up the skies, or the vibrant flower parades of the Netherlands, a real eyesore for those who detest color and beauty. And let's not forget the numerous music festivals that are scattered all over the continent, from the rock-infused madness of Glastonbury to the electronic beats of Tomorrowland. It's a cacophony of sounds that would surely send any party pooper running for the hills. So, if you're not into parties, then Europe might not be for you. But we're not done yet. So, do you hate experiencing all 4 seasons in one day? Then Europe will surely disappoint you. Let's be honest, Europe is notorious for its unpredictable weather. One minute, you're basking in the sun. The next, you're running for cover from a sudden downpour. It's almost like Mother Nature can't make up her mind. You'd think she'd be more decisive, but no, she prefers to keep us on our toes. And guess what? In Europe, you don't need to wait for winter to build a snowman. Sometimes, a surprise snowfall can turn a summer picnic into a winter wonderland. Talk about a plot twist. Then there's the wind. Oh, the wind. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It can cool you down on a hot day, or it can bring out your inner Mary Poppins as you struggle to hold on to your umbrella. And if you're not a fan of rain, Europe might not be your cup of tea. But then again, who can resist the smell of rain-soaked earth, the sound of raindrops on your window, the sight of a rainbow arching across the sky after a storm? But hey, it's not all gloomy. Europe also boasts some of the most beautiful sunny days that make everything look like a postcard. And the autumn? The colors are just breathtaking. If you prefer predictable weather, Europe might be a letdown. But we've got one more reason. Finally, if you hate meeting friendly and diverse people, then Europe is definitely a no-go. Let's face it, the people are one of Europe's most captivating features. These individuals, hailing from a myriad of cultures, languages, and backgrounds, create a melting pot of traditions and stories that's simply too overwhelming for some. Imagine strolling through the streets of Rome, where an Italian gentleman tips his hat to you with a warm buongiorno. Or walking into a Spanish tapas bar, where the chatter of locals engulfs you in a vibrant symphony of life. Picture yourself in a quaint English tea shop, where the owner greets you with a hearty, "How do you do?" and a steaming cup of Earl Grey. To make matters worse, Europeans have this uncanny habit of being incredibly hospitable. They might invite you into their homes, offer you homemade delicacies, or even guide you to hidden gems in their city. It's a maddeningly delightful experience that may result in a few extra kilos and countless unforgettable memories. And don't get me started on the friendships. Europeans are notorious for forging strong bonds, often inviting you to partake in their customs and celebrations. Before you know it, you might find yourself dancing at a Greek wedding or cheering at a German football match. So, if you prefer solitude, better stay away from Europe. Or, maybe give it a chance. If you've made it this far, you're either really bored, or maybe, just maybe, you're intrigued by Europe. Either way, we've got you covered. Here at Hidden Europe, we're committed to unveiling the most interesting and lesser-known aspects of this diverse continent. We're talking about that cozy cafe tucked away in the cobbled streets of Prague, that breathtaking vista atop a Norwegian fjord, or that quaint bookstore in a sleepy English village. But it's not just about the destinations, it's about the journey. That's why we're constantly on the hunt for the best travel ideas and exclusive discounts for our community. We're your one-stop shop for everything Europe, delivering weekly videos packed with recommendations, travel ideas, and of course, our signature humor. Join us early and become part of a community of travel enthusiasts. Subscribe now and stay tuned for more. After all, who knows? Europe might just surprise you.